What is something you spend a ton of money on that the vast majority of people never would? My daughter's cheerleading team this year. It is so fucking expensive, but she really loves it. And it's done tons for her self-confidence and time management skills. Plus, I never hid from her the struggles to find the money. I donate my plasma to help pay for the travel expenses. So she really appreciates being able to be on the team this year. This is her last year and I'm surprised to find I'm actually a little sad. I coached for 2 years and we didn't even compete, and holy fuck, our clothing alone was like $600 plus. I covered the costs of a girl who couldn't afford it and tried to keep it a secret, but ended up with a mom drunk texting me about letting some little girl get a uniform without paying her fees. That's the year I quit. Cheer is fucking wild. You go for supporting your daughter. I'm about to drop $1,000 to repad my flute. Hey fellow flutist, I dropped a few grand on a new head joint earlier this year. Totally worth it. I raise butterflies. When the caterpillars eat their way through the plants in my yard, I go buy them more. I've spent probably $400 on them last year. I bought a ton of fennel to finish up my swallowtails, another ton of milkweed for my monarchs, and tomato plants for my hawk moths. Edit. Thank you for the sparklies. I'll make a post about it when it's not Thanksgiving. Asterisk, where would I put this post? Grin. Edit 2. For those who keep asking, I let them all go, but I'll hold on to the moths until nighttime. How? You plant their host plant. They lay eggs and the caterpillars chomp the plant down. You just make sure they don't run out of plant, or get eaten by lizards, wasps. I used to raise them indoors, but I had more time then. They can get sick, in which case, you have to stop growing that plant in that area for a bit. And no, I'm not on TV. There's lots of us. This is a public good though. Most people wouldn't spend money on that, but it's highly commendable that someone out there does. Massages. I get terrible tension headaches and medication never did the trick. Massages keep it in check. Edit. Obligatory thank you for the gold and silver. This is my first gold and I'm pretty stoked. Also, thank you to everyone for your advice. I've tried some of the things you suggested, but I'm getting lots of new ideas. Thanks for caring. I relate to this. I have 2 different massage therapists I see. One that I pay out of pocket for. The other my health insurance pays for. I have migraines and serious back issues. Keeps me off painkillers. I spend about $5,000 turning my garage into a free weight gym this year. The UPS guy loved me for about 4 months straight. Edit. For those that have been asking, horse mat to cover the floor since it's cheaper and more durable than gym matting. A couple of dumbbell racks with dumbbell sets 5 pounds to 85 pounds. A good deadlift bar. A good cambered squat bar. A good bench bar. Flat bench heavy duty. Adjustable bench. 2 weight trees. 1 for either side of the heavy duty power rack. 14 45 pounds plates. 8 25 pounds plates. 8 10 pounds plates. 8 5 pounds plates. A set of chips. A heavy-duty bob. Good bar clips. A range of assorted rubber bands. A good lat pull-down machine. A decent heater. An okay Wi-Fi speaker. Old mixing bowl to hold chalk. I've been lifting for 18 years. Just got tired of gum fees. Edit 2. Misspelled gi monsieur. Leaving it. Also leaving the wrong then. Edit 3. Horse mat and the UPS guy have a lovely relationship in the far, far away land of improper. Then, soon to be expecting their first child. Goo monsieur. How did it cost you $5,000 if the weights are free? Edit. Wow, thank you everyone who upvoted and sent rewards my way. I didn't think so many people would see my comment, but I'm glad it put a smile on your face. Well, happy holidays everyone. Dad DDDDD. Fermentation equipment. I love fermenting stuff. I made a fermented cranberry soda for this Thanksgiving. Edit. Oh wow, I didn't expected this response. Thanks for the award. I have a small setup our end, but it's on my plans to expand it. I mostly do non-alcoholic beverages like sodas, tapash and kombucha. For the cranberry soda I just used a cup of gingerbug and made a cranberry sauce with orange and natural cranberries. Then I just added water, probably like 1.5 liters, and let it ferment for 5 days. After that I bottled the soda and did a secondary fermentation for 2 days in a dark, hot environment, and after that I left it on the fridge for a day so the gas settles and prevent spillage. Do you have your very own fermentation station? With the right amount of water? Come on Vinny, check this out. Insulin. If you're close to the border, come to Canada. It's a bit cheaper here. Thanks for the medical advice. You, bloody_vaginal_spray. Seltzer water. It's substantially cut down on my alcohol intake and I never drink soda anymore. But to anyone who had never been to my house, you'd think I was stocking up for the end of the world, or looking into becoming a seltzer distributor. The Sims franchise. $700 plus down the drain for pixels who say DARPA dabble dips. Edit. I like how the first thing I post is about my Sims shame and I get 10k upvotes. The Sims series needs a good competitor because the prices have been going way out of hand ever since 2 came out. Computer components. Set to drop an ungodly amount of my paycheck on Friday at Micro Center. It's been 6 years since my last CPU upgrade, don't judge me. Welcome to the inspiration for my question. 8 cores, 16 threads, here I come. I like to collect fossils and pretty minerals that I spend way too much on, but it's my hobby and I love it. Does Marie understand your mineral hobby? No, she's too busy shoplifting purple shit. Cheese LMAO. A mixed reef aquarium for my living room. Assure the amount of money you can potentially spend in the hobby is ludicrous, but there is something captivating about watching all the interactions in a marine ecosystem as it grows. Many of the best-looking corals and fish can also be grown sustainably by aquaculture suppliers now, which I think is important if you want to be a responsible pet owner. The other big draw for me is all the gear and tech which is available to tinker with. From Protion skimmers to pumps, power heads, refugiums, reactors, and dosing equipment. You could spend thousands if you wanted. And that's nothing compared to the cost of some specialty fisher corals with really radiant colors, yarn, and knitting needles. Edit. LMAO. It's funny how we all unanimously agree that we have already spent way too much on yarn we don't use but would absolutely spend insane amounts of money on more. For those of you wondering, yarn can get expensive. I've spent easily $120 on my current project and it's only 1/4 of the way done, lol. And if you're in the US, put your phone down for a few minutes and have a happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, seriously. It's hard to go back to cheap yarn once you try the good stuff. Also, why buy a sweater for $50 when you can make one for $300? Greater than also, why buy a sweater for $50 when you can make one for $300? Once upon a time, a very young and very naive Cyclone_Madge said to herself, I should learn to knit. It will save me so much money. So she did. But it didn't. The end. I got into knitting because I thought all yarn was Joann's prices and figured I could make a Harry Potter scarf for cheaper than the licensed merch. 5 years later I've spent literal thousands on many trips across the country and world for yarn. Oops. I finally had to tell my wife that she can't get any more yarn until she clears space in her already large collection. 2 dressers. One with 4 drawers. The other has 6. A plastic 3-drawer thing on wheels. A very large plastic tote. And 4 of those cube organizer things with the fabric boxes are all filled to bursting with yarn. We do not have any more space for any more yarn. And we lost a pet after it ate some stray yarn. I don't care how she clears the space for more yarn. but she can't get any more until an equal amount is gone. Edit. This took off. To address a few things. I've already moved things, gotten her more storage, built her something to store the yarn in. After we lost our cat, I told her she had to be much neater about the yarn. And she was extremely affected by the death of our cat as well and almost gave up crocheting. It took a year for me to convince her to take it up again, during which time she bought more yarn. She has pretty severe adult ADHD, and it takes a lot for her to finish a project. We rent and live paycheck to paycheck and don't have a lot left over after bills are said and done. And she doesn't sell the projects that she does finish. I love my wife and I wish we had the money and space for her to buy all of Joanne's. But the reality is we just don't, and that's a fact. Also note that I did not tell her she wasn't allowed to get more yarn. I said she could if she has space for it. Big difference. Chicken shawarma. Can't get enough of that damn white sauce. Zanku. You're welcome. Chicken feed. Those little buggers are just stomachs covered in feathers. I was going through 200 pounds a month for a while. Even though they free range and eat everything they can find. I live out in the country and somehow adopted 4 wild hens that came over from my neighbor's flock. I tried to domesticate them, but they just decided to free range all over my yard. I was emotionally invested at this point. I have 6 ducks and damn it wanted some chickens to pet. So I bought 3. They became wild free rangers with the rest and suddenly about 8 more showed up. I'm on month 6 now of feeding all these birds and I get to pet 0 of them, monsieur. Fencing and fencing accessories. Not the barbed wire type, but the stabbing people with long pointy metal sticks kind. Look at Mr. Fancy Pants over here with his Leon Paul gear. I usually just fence with a rusty rebar and a quadruple layered t-shirt. Effects pedals. I took some to a friend's house a few weeks ago for a stoner noise jam and he said, "What is that? About $2,000 in pedals?" I was about to push back as it seemed absurd. Then I realized he was right. Edit. Shit, I'm not alone. Stoner noise jam, right on. Asian ball-jointed dolls. Never to get into this hobby. Drugs are cheaper and easier to explain. Edit. My first silver. Thanks kind stranger tilde. I'm reading all the comments now and I'm so glad I got to pass along this joy. Man, I dunno what kind of dolls you collect, but I just searched Asian ball-jointed dolls and I am scared of dolls again. I just googled this, and goddamn some of those are gorgeous. And then others will haunt my nightmares. A very polarizing hobby, it seems. Knives. Not like I buy a lot of knives. I spend a lot of a few. Edit. I'm a pocket knife fan but appreciate nice kitchen cutlery as well. Chris Reeve Knives FTW. I've had more expensive knives and they are very very nice. But I like to use my things and I couldn't bring myself to use some of them so I sold them, monsieur. Now I EDC and use my large and cozy or small Sebenza. They, IMHO, are the best bang for the buck and set the standard of a high-quality knife. Do not bother with clones and go with a nice CT or Spyderco if don't want to spend $300 on a used Basic Creek. You can get very nice ZTs and Spydercos used for $100 to $150. This is also my poison. I've had a few Shirogorivs. Always wanted that elusive seashell Hattie. And currently have 2 different tall bed bodegas. One titanium with marble carbon fiber inserts and one carbon fiber body with silver twill inserts. Everyone guesses they go for $200 per ADA and half the time I just say, close to avoid the inevitable conversation that it's a waste of money. This was one of those posts where if it were an in-person conversation, I would have just smiled gently and nodded. All the while wondering at which point in the sentence you switched to gibberish names just for fun. To see if I would realize it. I spent $800 on a bow. Like a bow and arrow. For target shooting. I told my friends and they all told me I was nuts. I probably am, monsieur. Wait until you spend over $1,000 on a bare bow and then realize you need sights and a rest and a stabilizer and this and that and the other thing you can't live without. That's when you really start questioning your sanity. But I do love that thwack sound. Was on my school archery team this year. When it's time for people to buy gear, we tell them to go all out because good archery equipment lasts virtually forever. It's still a fucking brick. And my school paid for the upkeep of arrows and targets, which is a significant expense on its own. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.